Our man Eddie Gonzalez, Complex Sports, with us here. Love talking football with him. Love talking boxing with him. Love talking basketball with him. We're going to start with hip hop. I was going to bring something up during the commercial break. No, come on. We're here. Weigh in on this. We got people crying, talking about they devastated, all sorts of nonsense.
Who devastated?
Your boy. Yeah, I'm not going to say your boy because I like him too. Lil Wayne talked today.
Oh, I didn't see Wayne talk today.
Lil Wayne talked today. Eddie, weigh in on the halftime Super Bowl act being Kendrick Lamar.
Okay, look, let me preface this. As I talk up Lil Wayne, because I'm gonna, it's not talking down Kendrick. Kendrick is a fine choice. He's great. He's gonna smoke it. Like I know he is. Mm-hmm. The little minute he got last time, he killed it. I've seen him perform many times. I've seen him perform in Sacramento in a little ballroom, and he smoked it. So I'm not against Kendrick having the show at all. I don't even think just because it's in New Orleans, it has to be Lil Wayne. My only complaint is when you act like Lil Wayne is not worthy of the platform to get on that stage for various reasons. All of the reasons have holes you can easily poke in. Oh, he's too old. He hasn't done a song. Excellent. Usher was older and has not had hits in a long time. It was fine. Oh, he's not going to perform all that. We've seen some bad performances on that stage. That it's fine. Oh, he's not been relevant in X amount of years. Dr. Dre, y'all don't even remember he had an album in 2012. Like y'all don't even. Like, what are we saying right now? Oh, he'll have to bring a lot of guests. They always bring a lot of guests. Oh, his content is this. The Weeknd did this not too long ago. So I just don't buy that he's not a worthy act for that. Now, if him not being chosen is fine. I don't think he needs to be ceremoniously chosen because he's in New Orleans. I just don't like that idea. But again, I think Kendrick is fine. I think Kendrick is going to kill it. I think they have some great guests with him. Like he'll make the best of it. He'll be incredible.
Yeah, the thing I didn't like about all this, and Eddie, I was over this conversation. So not saying like we shouldn't bring it. I'm just saying like I started off with it.
No, because I know you're about to go off. Before you go off.
I wouldn't go off.
No, I think you're not talking into the microphone. I think there's a chance that your microphone isn't connected. So while if it is, and that's just me. But I checked the little settings on the app. But go ahead, KC.
But the whole thing that frustrated me about this entire dialogue 24 hours in was it became a situation as to why Wayne wasn't qualified or why Kendrick wasn't qualified. And it's like, come on, man. Like both, what are we talking about? Both of these dudes are the creme de la creme of hip hop, of popular music at this point. Like, yes, they are absolutely qualified. Either one of them. Like you said, Kendrick's going to kill it. And I would get frustrated when people act like Wayne had no business being a halftime show. And that's asinine to me. That's when I would walk away from the conversation. Like, what are we talking about?
But isn't this only a conversation because it's in New Orleans? Like, if the Super Bowl was in Arizona, would this conversation be happening?
Well, real quick, Eddie, it would, and it would,
almost,
or no, I'm sorry, it wouldn't be.
Okay.
But the kind of precedent had been set recently with the selections Jay-Z and that group had made.
It just happened once.
No, it didn't.
It's happened twice.
Usher's got connections. Shakira and J-Lo got connections to Miami. There had 3 of the 4 times he's been involved in this. There's been connections to the city. So this happened last year. This didn't come out of nowhere. Last year, like either the same night or a couple days later, the campaign for Lil Wayne started from the people. They're like, no, it's in New Orleans. Like, this will be dope. Like, da-da-da-da-da. And that's kind of Wayne talked about it. He was asked about it on an interview. And he's like, man, I'm gonna try and make sure I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. Da, 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 da.
And like, did he do that?
I don't know if he did or not. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what he's been doing. But
have you guys seen Wayne? Have you seen him live ever?
Yeah, I saw.
How was it?
It was great.
I've seen him on. Yeah, I don't know
that
it is.
I guess it depends on the show.
Yeah, I get like
his mental state.
I believe that people have had bad experiences. I've seen Wayne upwards of 10, 12 times. Incredible every time. And I don't say that just like as like a fan who's standing there, like, but he was mad active. He performed really well. He doesn't use a background vocal. He doesn't have a hype man anymore. Like he just goes up and rocks it. So it was like that one I didn't get it. I just seen him in Vegas 2 weekends ago. He did Zook Zook, the one at the Resorts World. Killed it. Great set. 45-minute set. Obviously, he was at 3 a.m. because it's Vegas, but he killed it. And he didn't even do the hits. He did like the beat. He did like the B-sides. You know, so he did hustler music, like he did Mr. Carter. So I'm like, come on, he can do a set. Like,
yeah, and like we said, I guess it depends on the day because I've heard people see him and say he barely did any, like he was trash.
And maybe that's what matters. Like it can't be that day.
But that also goes into, like I said, that interview he did about, it's not a year ago. It was at the end of the football season where he's like, I'm gonna make sure I'm on point. And I don't know what he's done in that time since, if he's made sure he's on point or not. But he was aware, maybe, of the perception. And he's like, I'm gonna make sure I'm on it.
Yeah,
So
I'm sure Wayne has his habits. I'm sure he does. I'm not denying that in any way. He's been pretty adamant and vocal. But we're talking about a professional performer, and he's been doing this since he was 10 years old. He's been doing it on a professional level since he was 14. We're talking 30 years of this. We talking arenas, we talking massive stages, and they go, oh, he did Essence Fest and it was whatever. And like, again, I'm sure there's been bad experiences, but he would not, I don't believe he would let this slip through his fingers. So again, not to say that Kendrick's going to kill it. Like,
well, that's the thing. And that's why the whole conversation is funny. Like Jay didn't pick Tommy Richmond. No shot at Tommy Richmond entirely, but like it's Kendrick effing Lamar.
The other one I want people to stop saying is, oh, you didn't do this in 2013. Like Kenny said, the precedent wasn't set in 2013, and 2013 was Beyonce. Yeah, we didn't do this in 2013. It was Beyonce. She literally shut down the arena. Like, don't stop bringing that up. It was Beyonce.
The other one more thing. So before we leave this, the other argument that I'm kind of tired of too is people are like, it's Kendrick Lamar and all this fake outrage about Lil Wayne. Oh, don't act like you're not going to watch. Of course, 90 million people watched it in Sacramento. Like, yes, everybody's watching the Super Bowl. Nobody's turning the Super Bowl on because Kendrick Lamar is there.
It's not an either or thing. Every argument's not either or. I
wasn't going to watch the Super Bowl. But now I wasn't going to go to a Super Bowl party. But now that Kendrick Lamar is, I'm definitely watching. And same, like you said, same thing with Lil Wayne. Oh, I wasn't going to watch with Lil Wayne's performance, so I'll watch. It's the most watched event every year around the world. People are watching the Super Bowl regardless.
I've had women say in my life that that was the Beyonce concert, and then they're just having to be a football game. That's the exception. Again, stop bringing that up. It's Beyonce. Like, shut up.
Stop bringing up Drake because that man was never offered the Super Bowl.
Wow.
So
apparently,
I sound like you're hating a little bit now. Hey, we got multiple sources that are
multiple sources. Go ahead. Yeah, no, open Twitter. Tell me about multiple sources.
Elliott Wilson hates Drake.
There are people in Rock Nation who are like, yeah, that never happened. We did not. Okay. You really believe that they offered Drake the Super Bowl 2 years in a row after he said no?
I'm telling
you're such a stand.
How does that make me a stand? Bro, I'm telling you, Elliott Wilson.
You never have ever called out Drake for lying. Drake started lying 4 months ago. You've never said, oh, Drake was wrong about this. Drake was wrong about that. You have been all on Kendrick for 4 straight months. Everything that comes out about Drake is the gospel.
So you asked me in a group chat. I won't even ask you. And you said, I'll go back to shutting the hell up because you said you believe everything he said is true. And I told you what I said is not true. I don't believe it's true. And you're like, oh, I read that wrong. I'll go back to shutting the hell up.
I don't even remember what that was.
Yeah, it was during Family Matters. And you were like, you believe all this stuff. I said, this is what I do believe. This is what I don't believe.
Yeah, so since when has that been the way you win the battle anyway? Like, Nas said Jay-Z and Tybo, and everybody was like, ooh.
I don't know. All I'm saying is Elliott Wilson hates me. So if there was anybody that would be like, nah, Drake is
right. Will I believe Elliott Nation or Rock Nation or Elliott Wilson or Rock Nation? I'm gonna choose Rock Nation.
Oh, you believe everything Jay-Z says.
I don't.
You're like my cousin.
I don't believe anything Rock Nation says.
You think Jay-Z's without flaw. That you want to talk about Stan.
So
you want to talk about Stan. You think Jay-Z does?
So you're telling me you think they went to Drake for the 2020 Super Bowl and he said no, and they're like, oh, let's just ask him again in 2021. No, you turn him down once, he's never asking you again.
Maybe not.
There's no chance that happened. None.
Not.
I'd bet your entire life savings on it. We all know how much money.
That's nothing compared to your.
We'll bet your entire life savings on it. What did you? I hate Drake. I swear to God.
I know. I know you hate Drake. I know.
And I can't stand you sometimes.
Why? We can talk all day.
I'm Mark Rosen in this whole thing. I like him though. That's why you should listen to me.
You're a flat out liar.
You
do not like Kendrick Lamar.
I love Kendrick Lamar.
What do you think about
both? A lot?
Yeah, I believe you. What do you think about what we saw last night on the football field?
You know, when they announced that the guys could wear the padded helmets, that would help. This is what we're talking about, right? We're talking about too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was one of the players I immediately thought of. And I think we are reaching that point where they're not, I don't know that they're going to take it out of his hands, but so this is his third diagnosed concussion in 2 years. And there was another one that wasn't diagnosed and he very much looked out of it and all that stuff. Like, we are in the era of football where we have to take care of a guy like that. That's a tough hit. That's the thing about his situation. Like, all of his hits have been tough, but tough hits happen. Is he just more susceptible? I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but by the way guys are talking, by the way Mike McDaniel is talking, I don't think they're going to leave this in his hands too much longer. And nor do I think they should. You know, we're all a little older and we remember, you know, all his great hits. We remember putting on Madden and game day and it just starts with 3 minutes of guys getting blasted, right? That's just not the league we live in right now. And I'm not saying he needs to or should retire, but I wouldn't be shocked if they take it out of his hands, at least for this season. And then he has to figure out from there what he's going to do with his career.
That's a good call. I mean, maybe you don't retire him. Maybe you can't retire him, but you shut him down for the season.
Yeah.
And think about what your next steps are going to be. You know, while you rest, we talked about it earlier. I don't think there's any resting or healing for the brain. It's not like a sprained ankle or anything like that. But at the very least, you don't take another hit this year and you rest up, quote unquote, there. But then you also have time to clearly think about what your next move is. These guys are you know all these guys, you know all these professional athletes, and you know that they're wired different in every sport. Like they live to play the game that they play. So it's easy for us on the outside to say just stop playing, you know, when these guys have been doing this since they could remember. But I do kind of hope Tua hangs it up, man. I think it's just not going to get any better, and the risk is only going to get higher, and the danger is only going to get higher for him, I believe.
Yeah, look, I'm not a doctor, but that's how it seems from afar. They've said little to nothing in today, and you know he got off, he walked off the field and handled himself in that sense. But again, from afar, it just seems like a thing that's just being compounded. We watched this happen with other guys. I remember like Austin Collie and players like that who just seem more susceptible to these situations and got hit a lot. You're the quarterback in the NFL, and like the number one job in the game in this league is we have to tackle that guy before he can do anything. And we got to tackle him hard so he can't do anything else. So it's just tough. And again, you can't tell a guy not to live his dream anymore. And if he figures it out, if he takes some time, we you know, you guys are wrestling guys. We watched this happen with wrestling guys a little bit. Daniel Bryan's still out there wrestling. Mm-hmm. You know, Sting got back out there. That was a little different. It's a neck and it's a whole different thing. But like you may find the right doctor says it's cool, but this is different. It's your brain, and we know so little, you know. Yeah. And so it's tough to see. It's tough to see.
Do you think that this is an issue that the NFL is still having trouble aggressing and kind of, no pun intended, wrapping its brain around, like fully understanding what this is, how to deal with it? You talk about we still amazingly don't know enough about all this. You think the NFL struggles exactly with what to do with this type of stuff?
Yeah, and like I kind of fight back at the notion that they've been aggressive with it either. Like they've kind of done just enough to,
I'm with you.
You know, to look respectable in that sense. You know, the problem is like what are the answers? This is a game of collisions. This is a game of people running into each other. the quarterback is kind of the safest position on the field, but there's times in any given game he may have to run 7 yards down the field and run into a safety, So unless we're going to have them stop tackling each other, or like there's radical suggestions like, yo, if guys didn't have helmets, maybe they wouldn't lead with their head, and they would rugby, they don't have as many concussions and all this stuff. But like, I don't know that there is a true answer. They've, revolutionized the helmets and they've done all they can in that sense. But at the end of the day, this is guys running into each other as fast as they can, throwing each other on the ground, bumping heads. And it's when you get close to that field and really get a feel just how fast things happen on that field, there's only so much you can do in preventative nature. It's like, I kind of look at it like boxing. Like at the end of the day, you're hitting each other in the head. Like that's the point of what you're doing. And it's only so much you can do.
The essence and the core of the game is innately dangerous. Like that's just what it is. And I don't want to come off like I'm necessarily defending the NFL, because that's I ain't never gonna. But you see some of the things they're trying. What people complain all the time about late hits on the quarter. That's not a hit. Oh, come on. What is he supposed to do? Like they're trying the kickoff thing. They're trying, but they're trying to make a game, like I said, that is innately dangerous, safe, and you can't do it. Like it's impossible. Like the nature of the game is that of hitting the guy, hitting him to the point where he don't want to get up or have the same type of aggression, and kind of we joke about it a little bit, but kind of take their soul throughout the game. Whose will can be broken throughout that game is really what it is. And I like you guys said, I don't know what they can do to kind of regulate that or get that out the game. I don't know if you can.
It's calculated car crashes all game. The force that they run into each other is car accidents. That's what they're doing out there. And you have bigger helmets, you have smaller pads, and so you have all this stuff going on where it's like it's supposed to help. But at the end of the day, if I run the top of my head right into a guy's chest at full speed, and anything can happen. You know what I mean? We'll look at something like Shazier a while back. Like that was a typical hit that happens in almost every game. You just bent the wrong way for a millisecond, and you got to learn how to walk again. Like it's a very dangerous sport. I do think, and again, I don't want to sound like an old crude fan, but it's like you do reach the point of you're removing so much of the sport, and then like what are we watching football anymore? I look at the kickoffs, and I think they've been entertaining in their own right, but you start doing stuff where we're not allowing anybody to, like, now it's a whole different game, and you remove that. Like it's meant to be a physical game. It's a contact sport. So it's like you said, I'm not trying to bail out the NBA. I just don't know how many options they have here to fix stuff like this.
How does this stuff, from the NFL, the concussions, how does this, like, you guys know better, like boxing? Like, what's the concussion situation like in boxing?
Go ahead, Eddie.
Well, I mean, their protection is the gloves and a mouth guard, and it's a little different than MMA. You can get knocked down in MMA and you got to just fight. And we've watched fights, Kenny. We watch fights all the time. Where it's like, damn, he might have been concussed in round 2. We've had guys say, yo, I got hit in third round. I never recovered, and they just never looked the same. So like they're potentially concussed and continuing to get hit after that. I think kind of like the science of it is I can't necessarily hit you stationary as hard as I could if I was running 20 feet straight at you and then throwing you at the ground. But again, that doesn't mean it's safer. Like the point of boxing is to knock the other guy unconscious. I think the saving grace also is like when usually when it happens, it ends. There's no more. But the answers aren't great. They have just as much a storied history. I mean, you look at even somebody like Ali. They wonder if the Parkinson's is connected, and on and on. We've seen guys, we call it punch drunk, and we see guys slur their speech, and they're still fighting. Roy Jones was doing that for some time, and it was like, yo, you have to stop. Roy Jones fought in his 50s, like, so it's like, it's just as tough there. It's just as tough as combat sports. And again, as we age as sports fans, we're a little more sensitive to that stuff than we used to be, because just like the hits in the Madden game, I watch knockout compilations all the time. And it's like, I'm okay with it. And then you think about it, I had a cousin who boxed, watch him get hit a couple times. I was like, whoa, like this is a lot.
Yeah.
And I think we're all kind of getting there as we get older as fans. Like, all right, this is kind of
it's different when you know the person.
yeah.
Oh, I mean, look, when you know him, and then when you like Eddie, and you about fourth row
Right.
at these Showtime
Right.
fights. You know what I mean? You kind of fourth row.
Wasn't
so
he corner
see it a
man
little
in the
different.
last fight?
He might
Hitting
have
the
been.
water bucket.
He might have been. Yeah, he
How
might have.
different.
Speaking of, are you at the Sphere this weekend?
No, it sounds great, but I'm home. I have to cover football, man. I have to do my day job sometimes too.
Yeah, man. And look, to his point though, I mean, the other thing that we do as boxing fans, and I think football fans do it too, and I'm not trying to speak from a place that's holier than thou. I am part of this. Is you just kind of make an agreement with yourself emotionally that you know what you're watching, you know the consequences, and you just accept it and you try to enjoy the sport. And that I'm not even saying that like that's the best thing, but that's what we all do, right? Like nobody's not gonna watch football tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. I'm gonna watch Canelo on Saturday. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's kind of what we all do as sports fans. And like I said, I'm not pointing a finger or wagging a finger at anybody or anything else like that. It's kind of what we do. And to a certain degree, that's what these players do. They say this is the emotional and mental agreement that I made to chase my dreams or to continue to play this game.
Yeah, you kind of those guys kind of laugh at it. You look at Antonio Brown and people like that. They're kind of like, but that is like common, but it's a laugh, but it's like one of those uneasy kind of like, yeah, I'm laughing, but I put it like this. My son is 18 and he had a whole career of sports. He did not play one down of football. It wasn't ever even a conversation. I never even thought of it. He did not get in any ring, nothing. And it was never even a conversation. Never even thought about it. And so it's like, it's hypocritical in a sense, but that's kind of that's the bargain we make as fans, right? Like I'll watch the pros do this, but my kid, oh no.
Yeah, I didn't mean to make the conversation as heavy as it turned out. I feel like it's just kind of the focal point of sports talk today. Eddie, we appreciate you as always, man.
Real quick, I got to ask Eddie before it leaves. I mean, easy work on Saturday night, right? Easy work.
Oh, yeah. I just posted a thing on Complex Sports on Instagram, on Twitter, on everywhere else. Make sure you follow. Canelo's, I think he's well aware of what this fight is for him. And he told us he wanted an action fight. He thinks Berlanga will come forward and fight. And I think he will for a little bit. And then he's going to get hit and be like, not so much anymore.
And then he's not. And then I said, I got a 9th round TKO for Canelo. And then after that, he's going to talk to Jim Gray. And he's like, I'm not afraid of anybody. I'll fight anybody. And then 2 months later, he's like, give me $300 million to fight. We all know what's going to happen.
They were adamant. David Benavidez is too big. Terrence Crawford is too small. I think they're kind of right. But again, you should fight that fight. If you're you should fight that fight. But somebody might give him $200 million. Who knows? Call the bluff.
Excellency.
Yeah, it might be him. But yeah, easy money. I think the undercard is we're gonna have some fun and see some good stuff.
Yeah, undercard crazy. Yeah.
So
Eddie, we appreciate you as always, my brother. Thank you.
Nah, fellas, good seeing you. You already know. I'll be back next week, man. Keep bugging me.
Yeah, we ready for you.
Yes,
It's weekly. We ain't
Yes,
even
sir.
tell everybody yet. It's weekly, man. Eddie with us every Friday now.
Yeah,
Come
man.
on now. Let's
Yes,
do
sir.
it.
We're excited about that, man. Thank you, brother.
My dog.
Yes, sir.
So, man, Eddie Gonzalez, every Friday, he'll be with us. We'll come